On the roadshow, 3 fine new executives, a sports racer revisited, shopping at the supermarket and to Land's End with the classics.
When you've ridden through rain and cold all night, you can excuse the odd little slip-up. When you grind to a halt on a 24-hour marathon, frustration is only to be expected. Because this is the top end of the Land's End Trial, run since 1908 by the Motorcycle Club, founded in 1901. Ancient? I think so. The chairman is a famous Suffolk motorsport name, John Ailey.
There was hardly a road in many of those places. The machinery was rugged, wasn't it, to say the least of it, and very unreliable. And tyres, you were expected to get a puncture about every 5 or 6 miles, I suppose.
The Land's End is club sport on a grand scale. 365 motorcycles and cars, a 400-mile route, scores of marshals and 3 start points. This one's at Popham Airfield near Basingstoke. Tony Divey from Norwich competes again in the Tri-King. Reg and Bill from Essex are back for the 28th year. Steve White from Dorchester is a complete novice.
I've never actually been to Cornwall, so that's going to be a nice surprise for me. But I came out watching last year and so taken with it. I bought myself a bike straight after the event, and this is my first ever one.
It's traditional. In the morning you'll see kids out on the street corners just like their fathers and their grandfathers were before them.
They go at 1-minute intervals, aiming to hit control points on time and to tackle tough hill climbs and tests without penalty.
The sheer thrill and the adrenaline of getting up a hill, and it's just, yes, you've done it when you've done it. Brilliant.
And when you've done it,
When you're ready.
Thank you.
you'll have been doing it until this time tomorrow. Motorsport law means that speeds mustn't average more than 30 miles an hour. And even by the first control, the gremlins have had time to catch up.
Found a faulty earth, rectified that, and all the lights just went all together. There's obviously brakes somewhere in there.
To improve matters, it's now cold and starting to rain. Control 2, and it becomes more of a party as the crews prepare for the real tests ahead, with some serious nocturnal eating. They sleep where and when they can, before hurrying on towards daybreak and the hills they've all come to conquer. The Land's End is one of the original motor events, and notorious Crackington Hill has been testing motorcycles and cars since the off. Messrs Brough, Roots, Riley, Morgan and Morris all personally took part to promote their products. Some of the products are still competing today. In between the muddy hills, rain-swept car parks. Sleepless in the saddle, the motorcyclists tackle the cone tests against the clock in return for a possible trophy. The Norwich Tri-King team clearly know their way around in utter confidence. And to prove that really anyone can take part in this motorsport, a you-know-what, complete with small boy in the back seat. There are 14 difficult hill climbs on the Land's End Trial, none more spectacular than Blue Hills on the cliffs near St Agnes. It's a near vertical climb that would challenge a mountain goat, especially one that hadn't been to bed all night.
So, I mean, when you've got to sort of Blue Hills, you've driven well in excess of 400, so you're really tired, especially the poor old motorbike boys. You know, they've had been out all night with the weather, you know, with it cold and wet, and they've had a lot of rain, I think, overnight as well. And, you know, the time they get into Blue Hills, I think they've had a really pretty grueling trip, really. But they come back year after year, so they must enjoy it.
Hard on a motorbike, harder on foot, seemingly impossible in a car. But Hazel MacDonald from Hertfordshire makes a clean job of Blue Hills to everyone's delight. The rules say no stopping or rolling back enough to crush an imaginary matchbox. And certainly no bursting into flames. David Rolfe's MG M-Type from Buckinghamshire gets some vigorous attention, but to no avail. In the 30s, factory MGs competed here in front of 10,000 people. The supercharged MG J2 of Dudley Sterry from Hampshire shows how they did it. Others show how they didn't. And for those who grind to a halt, there's a winch that's been run by the same family for generations. For Buttercup, a 1934 Singer Sport, no winch required this year.
They were built to take that sort of punishment. The roads that you're driving on, the sort of roads that were around in the 1920s and 30s when these cars were built. And that's what they're intended for, and all you're doing is taking them home.
Tim Short expects nothing less. Penzance is Journey's End, a good crowd and a flying finish round a circuit of cones, with a last chance to pick up a few penalty points you may have overlooked. Eventually they'll hear who's won a cup and who's earned a medal. For now they just want a bath, a beer and bed.
Yeah, we've been out for about 36 hours, I think, but it's all in the name of fun, isn't it?
Someone described it as being character building.
And in this rare, still scrupulously amateur event, all they'll dream of is a chance to have another go next year on Land's End Trial number 79.
Next time on the roadshow, the camper's camper meets a modern motorhome. We suggest 3 interesting new cars you may have overlooked, but might like to consider. Celebrating 40 years of the dear old Anglia, and the sports car classic Jaguar's SS100, or is it?